Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your girl, Pretty Sexy Jara the Brand, aka Stoner Assistant. And of course, you know your girl is tuning in for a review slash recap of season 10's Real Housewives of Potomac over on Bravo. Baby, season 10 is full of the tea, and as y'all know, a lot has been going on out here in these internet streets, especially about one of the housewives, but I'm sending nothing but prayers and blessings and love her way. But, you know, I am your girl, Pretty Sexy Jar the Brand, aka Starting Assassin. To all my silent and deadly ninjas, thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me. Um, if this is your first time ever seeing me over here on YouTube, hit that like button. Please comment and come on, subscribe and become a silent but deadly ninja. Shout out to my assassin family that is growing and steady showing up. And baby, we are finna get into the first episode of season 10, which is titled The Second Bloom. So, our opening scene begins on September the 2nd, which is the day Miss Karen Hugler was released from prison. And, you know, we don't get to see her. We do see her getting picked up and getting into the car. And then we get, you know, a breakdown of why she was arrested, when she was arrested, and her charges. And then we jump back to 6 months earlier, which begins on March the 1st of 2025. And this is like 2 days after Miss Karen's sentencing of her 1 year stint in prison. And baby, we are at, of course, Miss Giselle's home. And baby, she is in the cabinet and looks like she is hosting a gathering, baby. And she got the cabinets open. She's like, she thinks she gonna need her a drink. Baby, the way y'all open this up, but it's giving movie, it's giving production. So Miss Giselle says she's emotional, she's all over the place, she just don't know how to feel. And then y'all, we get a vehicle pulling up in the driveway, and it is our girl Miss Ashley. And baby, Miss Ashley is pulled up, outfit giving, serving, just casual day, okay, just casualties. And you know her and Miss Giselle hug, and they both compliment each other. They tell each other they look good, and then you know Giselle got ahead and get it cracking. She's like, "Girl, Karen is waking up in jail. Can you believe it? It's been a crazy 72 hours." And Ash was like, "Yeah, it really, really has." And she's like, "Yeah, girl, Karen's waking up in jail." She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And she's like, "But hopefully, you know, she's safe." She's like, girl, they probably got her in general population, which I think she called it in like what they call it in short terms. And then she gonna say, you know, hopefully, just said, hopefully they got her somewhere safe, like people her age. And Ashley gonna say, the AARP, Ashley, Ashley, too soon, too soon. And, you know, the girls get into the conversation about the reunion, what happened. And so Ashley shares with Giselle that, you know, she and Miss Stacy has hung out. They took their kids to play together. And Giselle said, "Oh, so girl, did you ask her about the rumors and what happened last season and about what the man is saying?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she's like, she just said pretty much that it's not true and that he was making it all up. And Giselle was like, "What did you say?" Yeah, right. And baby, I'm just gagging because then the next person we see pulling up is our girl, Miss Wendy Ostefo and Kiana. What's T-Boo? So, like I said, my girl Kiana, Miss Wendy, they're there. They knocking on the door. They ringing on the doorbell. Miss Giselle is not coming to the door because her and Miss Ashley is so deep off into this conversation. So next thing you know, our girl Miss Kiana just walks on in through the door. She said, "Girl, you just gonna let anybody just walk in your house?" And she was like, "Girl, we've been knocking, ringing the doorbell, and baby, let's just say." The vibes is interesting. You know, Ashley and Miss Kiana speak. Wendy and Ashley speak. You know, then the ladies go sit down. They get ready to jump into this conversation. And then that's when Miss Giselle brings to the group's attention that, you know, Miss Stacy has a car like Miss Ashley, and Miss Ashley said, no, 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 it's a rental. She's getting one custom made, and then Miss Jill says, I think Stacy is here, and the next thing you know, we see our girl Miss Stacy at the door. This is a very interesting opening, I will say. Baby, so, you know, all the ladies sit down. Giselle opens up and says, you know, y'all, I just want to have a conversation and we all need to be together because the Grand Dame is no longer in the group. Currently, she's in jail. And, baby, the ladies start to share and express their feelings one by one in the room. And, you know, Giselle says, this is the fourth time this has happened. She's like, but you know, I'm glad she's getting the help that she needs, and she's gonna be able to, you know, get herself in better spaces. And Miss Wendy says, you know, even though they did not end on the best of notes, that you know she really does hope the best for Miss Karen, and you know, they share like a little fun inside joke memory of her to lighten the mood, and then baby, that's when we get into about the reunion last year. Stacy and TJ. TJ saying he got receipts, he breaking his silence. Stacy telling the girls, um, I don't know what he's talking about. He's making this all up. And the girls is acting like, and the girls is confronting Stacey like, Stacey, is it true? Is it true or is it not true? And Stacey, I'm sitting in my truth like I was last year, and I'm telling y'all, it's not true. I don't owe him any money. I don't owe him anything. And actually, like, well, that's not what he's saying on the internet. That's not what he's telling the world. And they showed a receipt of him saying breaking news. He's gonna release information. And Stacey says, "Why are y'all treating me like this? Like I'm someone y'all cannot trust. Like y'all don't know me. He hurt me, and what he's done has hurt me." And they was like, "How?" And Stacey's like, "Because he's telling these people and telling y'all that I owe him money. I don't owe him anything. I'm living in my truth." So then, baby, it turns to a fest. Okay, the girls start to read. Stacey says, "This was gonna be every time I get around y'all. Y'all gonna question me. Y'all gonna question if I was being honest. I'm telling the truth about what happened between me and him. If I say that's not what happened, that's not the agreement, am I not gonna be believed?" And baby, the girls say, "Well, this group is about accountability." And then they say, you know, KX is Stacy. Like, was there a different type of relationship? And then they get into it and they start having a back and forth. And Stacy gets to the point where she's like, you know what, maybe I should reconsider about the trend group. Maybe I should reconsider about thinking about who I am around and who I hang with. And she gets up, she storms out, walks away, and drives off. And Giselle was like, girl, don't try to bring us in your mess, because you caught. And Giselle said, well, I was gonna share why she was here, but since she gone, I might as well go ahead and tell y'all. And she shares about an event that her and Ashley went to, and they met someone that is actually close friends with Mr. TJ, and baby, they got the real tea to scoop, and they saw the receipts. Baby, Real Housewives of Potomac. This is how y'all starting off with a bang. Ah! So yes, y'all, as we into our next scene, baby, it is our girl, Miss Stacy, and she is out, baby. Black dress, high split up to the side. And I'm like, where is Miss Stacy going? And baby, it seems like Miss Stacy is going on a date. And then when she comes around this corner and sits at the table, y'all, it is Miss Stacy's ex-husband, which we find out at the table that they went on vacation together. They received their papers that they were officially divorced, and then they looked at each other and they got this magic twinkle in their eyes and just knew that it wasn't the end of them and have decided to get back together. This is why the girls have a hard time believing you, Miss Stacy. This is why right here. And I'm like, okay. But you know, they sit down, you can tell, you can feel the chemistry, you can feel the love. And like he places her order, and they really get into the conversation about them deciding to get back together, but not telling their daughter that they're back together because they just told her that they were divorced, and so they don't want to put her in like in a strange predicament. And baby, just them deciding to reunite and him making the effort and really taking out the time. And she said him sending her like an evite to ask her out. And she said it shows, that they're really in this phase of moving forward. And baby, I'm just like, Miss Stacy, girl, okay. It's T. I'm vibing. I feel you, sis. But y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene, it is our girl Kay, and we are inside of Kay's condo, baby, and it's decked out. Do you hear me? And baby, Kay's mother comes over, and baby, her mother looks good, honey. When I say her mother body is T. Okay, big purr. They sit down and they start to have conversations and talk, and of course they get into a conversation about Kay and her relationship and how things are and how things are going. And of course her mother shares her concerns, and we get a flashback scene seeing Kay with her mother and her brother, and I'm just talking about the dynamic of her relationship and how they feel. And Kay's mother says, if you're gonna be somebody's wife and you're gonna be with them, you gotta be forever happy, not today happy, maybe you happy. And baby, I'm like, yeah, mama right though. She got a point. We always move from that scene to our next scene. So yes, yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, it is our girl Miss Wendy, and baby, we are inside Miss Wendy's beautiful home, and it is her husband, and the kids, and baby, they are in their foyer, and baby, they are talking about her husband's business, which is Happy Eddie, and how it has expanded and it has grown, and how it is building and doing so well. And he started in one state, but now he's in 3 states, and how it's just taken off. And Miss Wendy says that she is so proud of him, not only because of the monetary value that it has brought in, but it just has brought in, letting them know what projects they will take on in the future and how they will do business and move forward. And they have their kids in there while they're talking about these things. And of course, they ask their kids what are their futures and plans and goals. And their daughter says she's going to be a doctor. One son says he wants to work for Chick-fil-A. And baby, the family's looking, laughing. And of course, it's all good vibes, good energy. But it's just good to see a positive aspect of like cannabis and entrepreneurship and just all those great things. But as we move from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, it is our girl, Miss Ashley, and baby, she is going to a boutique, and baby, she said it's time for her second bloom, which is her divorce party. And baby, she said she invited out Miss Stacy because after everything that happened at Giselle's house, she says Stacy was under a lot of heat, and she does respect Stacy, so she wants to talk to her one on one about everything, and and just a more comfortable area and space, and also shop for her dress for her second bloom party. Baby, she says, the divorce, she wanna celebrate being a bad, okay, and y'all gonna let her. And so while she's walking around, she's talking to the owner. Baby, our girl Miss Stacy comes in. She has on her dress. They hug, they speak, and baby, they walk around. And Miss Stacy tells Ashley that she really enjoyed her invitation that she sent for her party. And then the next thing you know, let's just say the girls went on, jumped and got into the tea. And Ashley was like, yeah, so Stacy, me and Giselle was at this event. and we met someone that knew TJ, and they showed us documentation that that you was the defendant and he was the plaintiff, and like that you owe him money. And baby, Stacy started swooping and duping like, girl, I know you ain't bringing this up right now. And I'm looking like, Stacy, girl, the girls is doing it this season. They doing it. Baby, and when I tell y'all it has gotten heated, Ashley and Miss Stacy, baby, then got is going back and forth. Stacy says, baby, this in the past. She's forgiven TJ. She's moved on. She don't even know why they still talking about it. Ashley's like, girl, this is why don't nobody trust you, because you a liar. Can't nobody trust you, girl. Can't nobody trust what you say, because, girl, we keep finding out these things and you not being honest about it. And she's like, what are you talking about? I am being honest. She said, it's the fact that you think that I'm not being honest about it. She said, so are you divorced? And she's like, well, yes, I'm divorced. Ashley said, well, I couldn't find your divorce records. I couldn't see your documents. She was like, why would you want to be looking for that? That's not any of your business. Baby, let's just say the girls had a shade fest and back and forth reads. And baby, it's just giving real scandalous tease between both of the ladies. And Ashley said, it was your hot breath. Y'all girls ain't playing for this season. Season 10, the girls is not playing for y'all. So yes, y'all. As we get into our next thing, baby, it is our girl, Miss Giselle. And honey, she's at home and she is showing us what it's like to be a free parent with no children at home, baby, and just living in her new life. And of course, she tells us what it's like in the life of the day with Giselle every day. She's still working on her businesses, reasonably shady, G&A, exercise, and just, living a life, living beautifully, okay? And she's like, let her call her girl Ashley. And baby, why she called Ashley? Because, honey, they got on the phone, and the next thing you know, it became a kiki session with a little tee-hee session. Because, baby, Ashley started sharing about, her day out with Miss Stacy, the conversation they had, if Miss Stacy is even gonna make it to her party. And our girl Giselle is definitely trying to get to see and trying to see what's going on and what happened. And our girl Miss Ashley loves to do a good impression, so she's giving her the Stacy one-on-one course, baby. And Miss Giselle is up with her kicking and dying, laughing and rolling. And I'm like, girl, T. But y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene. So yes, y'all, as we get into our next scene, it is our girl, Kay, and she, of course, is introducing us to our newest housewife, which is Miss Angel. And baby, let's just say Miss Angel and Kay have been knowing each other 20 years plus, and baby, they have a good friendship. They've been hustling together. They came up in the entertainment industry together, and they just have always had each other's back. Our girl Miss Angel was living in Colorado, but she's moved back home. And baby, she says the transition has been an experience, but she's glad to be back at home. Her husband used to play um, in the NFL, and baby, they have a business resorts where they offer like retreats back in Colorado, and they're expanding their business in their new state. And baby, it's just good to see a black family doing well. And come to find out, Miss Angel is like a spiritual person. She's very much so into meditation, cleansing energy for spirit. So it's giving definitely a vibe. And we see the ladies chatting it up and kicking, and the girls go on a walk while Miss Angel's husband takes the kids to the park to go play. And it's just nice to see them have like a one-on-one moment. So Miss Angel and Miss K, they go outside and they actually have a trail behind their home, and they of course get into conversation and talking. Miss K asks us how I mean, asking Miss Angel how she's doing. Miss Angel said she's good. She said, just trying to get adjusted to the new time zone. But she says, how's everything here? What's going on? What's the new social circle? What is it like? And, our girl Kay gives a breakdown and a little tea of what's this her social circle and what it's like out there in the city. And then she gets into, which I come to find out to be very interesting, something going on between her and Miss Wendy, and also finding out that Miss Angel knows Miss Wendy from college, kind of, sort of, and that there's like a little history in between there. And Kay invites Angel to come with her to Ashley's Bloom event. So y'all, this is gonna be really telling, cause what's finna go on in Platonic, baby. So yes, y'all, as we get into our next thing, baby, is the day of Miss Ashley's second Bloom event. Baby, the event space is very, very beautiful, decorated very, very well. Baby, they got the makeup artists. Baby, they finna get into the hair and the gigs and styles of things. And baby, then we break off from where Miss Ashley is hosting her party, the second Bloom, and then we see our girl Miss Kiana in the car with her friend girl Miss Angel, and baby, they're on their way to the event. Both of the ladies look very, very, very beautiful. And baby, Miss Kiana says, she has not seen Wendy, and today they're gonna have the conversation. And she says she hopes she takes it very well. And then we go from seeing Miss Kiana and Angel to seeing Miss Giselle and her friend Tia, and Tia is very beautiful. And baby, we get a rundown about how Miss Giselle knows Miss Tia, and baby, let's just say the girls is not coming to play to the second Bloom. Bam. So yes. The girls have started to arrive, baby. The chatter, the mix and mingling is happening. The girls is getting introduced. The girls are shaking hands. Baby, the vibes is giving. Oh, hey. I'm gagging right now because baby, the girls is giving it up. The girls is really giving it, and they really giving it up. And then, of course, our girl Miss Wendy comes in, and baby, she had to give the girls the drama, the flair, but most of all, the dress. Baby, she came in, she had the girls hug. Baby, the girls was like, "Oh, hey Wendy, hey Wendy." I was like, "Yes, meow." I be living, I live, I just live. But y'all, as the party gets ready to get started, we get an introduction from Miss Ashley. She tells all the guests to turn to the staircase. And baby, y'all already know how our girl gave it up coming down. Second Bloom, get into it. You see her, you see what's going on. So, baby, yes, while the ladies at this event, things is happening, the room's moving and shaking, and we see our girl, Miss Giselle and Wendy, talking, kicking over to the side, and of course, our girl, Kay, go sit down, and baby, before the conversation could even get finished between Miss Giselle and Miss Wendy, Kay came in, and baby, let's just say Kay had some things to say, and she wanted to get them off her chest and express herself. And what she did to Miss Wendy, they had this talk, this dialogue, and baby, Miss Wendy was like, "Okay, well, she's saying these things. I'm confused." In conversation and dialogue, so I mean, she expressing what she expressing, but I don't see what the issue or the problem is about how I'm showing up in this friendship, how I'm being in this friendship. I don't get it. Maybe I'm lost. And then, baby, we go from them talking and having that conversation on the couch to then seeing Miss Giselle, Miss Angel, Miss Stacy, and Miss Ashley. And baby, the ladies were all talking. And Miss Angel said, she met Miss Ashley, and she just sweet as everybody say. And then Miss just until she's not. And Miss Stacy said, yeah, until she's not. And Ashley says, well, I just don't like liars. And baby, the next thing you know, Miss Stacy and Miss Ashley have this kind of slight back and forth, shade fest, read fest, dig, cut game, and baby, it gets so to the point they get loud at the event. My gosh. Real Housewives was homing. Season 10, episode 1, The Second Bloom. Y'all, it has been your girl, Pre-6 Starter Brand, aka Stone Sexy. Until next time, y'all. Mm, mm, mm. Oh my gosh.